Good morning. Welcome to the studio, Jasper.
Thank you.
Would you like to do just a quick introduction as to who you are, where you're from?
I'm Jasper Basson, founder of Drake Holdings, founded in 2006. It's an accounting firm, accounting practice, doing monthly accounting tax. And I'm also the co-founder. I'm actually just the financial director. That side of I've got a creative partner that obviously do the creative side, but from Lead Optimizer, that's a lead generating company since about 2015, 14. And yeah, I'm a founder of a YouTube channel, Jasper Basson Accounting, Tax and Habits, and just pouring my heart out and trying to encourage entrepreneurs in South Africa. And the thing is, we never grow bigger than ourselves. So our inner world will never be any bigger than or better than our outer world. So
and so you yourself are an accountant. So your brand is very kind of focused on accounting and tax and all of those scary things that most of us tend to kind of stay away from.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm mainly an accountant. I'm being an accountant for small business owners for about almost 2 decades now. Since 2001, I started my own practice in 2006. So, and I'm an entrepreneur as well, but everywhere I've been involved with, I used to be the financial director, financial guy in the picture of any business.
And lead optimizers, where does that come from? Is that like a niche kind of leads that you do, or do you do leads for any businesses? Where did you? Yes. How's the structure for that?
So it started with one of my accounting clients. At that stage. We saw an opportunity of a specific niche market website, BE Certificate SA. That site, BE Certificates, was a massive thing in South Africa. And the website just exploded. So obviously we've done a niche market website that somebody searched for BE Certificates, they got to our website, generating leads. And it was actually a massive success, just that one website, and then from there it was actually just a joint venture, see how everything would go. And then we decided to actually start doing that for other people as well. So we go and look for a niche on Google. That's really obviously a trending niche that's there and can be potentially used for a business, and then we build a business or a website around that niche. To generate leads for people from Google searches.
Okay, so Lead Optimizers is not a specific website, but it's kind of like, you do different...
Yes. We've got about 45 websites. Not all of them are obviously successful, but you need to get through the trenches to go through them to get to the few that's actually successful.
Okay.
So
that's interesting. So you've got your hands quite full then if you're running 40 websites on the sideline. From your accounting things and so on. So how do you how do you make sure you get to everything, and how do you cope with just dealing with how do you stay ahead of all of those websites and all that? Do you have specific habits that you have in place that you kind of structure your life around, or do you just get to it, or is it just it just happens? Or?
So right now I've got a dream team around me, so I've got a lot of people that really specializes in specific things. So I'm not involved in the day-to-day things anymore, like I used to do a number of years ago. So I think that's the very important aspect for any business owners to really build that dream team around. You can never build anything
do everything yourself.
Yes,
you need to start kind of delegating things.
Yes, it's a difficult thing for the most entrepreneurs and small business owners because they want to do everything is all about me and not about we. So they struggle to get to the point that they actually have the confidence to delegate and also feel they want to delegate because they feel that they can do everything themselves.
I think it's a pride thing for most people. Because you don't want to believe that someone else can do the thing that you did for so long as good or even better than you did it. And that's a very important thing to do in business, is kind of realize that you can't keep on doing everything forever, because otherwise it's going to all go to shit.
Exactly.
If your business is growing and it's still just going to be you doing everything, you're not going to have a good time.
There's a saying, it's actually a book on it, ego is the enemy. So once you get past that phase of the ego, then the world opens up in abundance for you, because then you can start delegating, you can trust in various people to actually assist you. And then you can grow and scale your business.
Ego is quite a dangerous thing, It's very destructive, especially it's just one of those things that was kind of designed to make people suffer, you know.
Exactly.
If you get too caught up on your ego, you're not gonna, like I said, you're not gonna have a good time.
I see it a lot from martial arts, and we can potentially look at that a bit later on in the conversation. But there's a lot of lessons. I come from martial arts almost my whole life. There's a lot of lessons out of martial arts for entrepreneurs, and one of them are the ego. If you're rolling on a mat or you're on a kickboxing ring, your ego doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It gets squashed very easily if you think you're the guy in there.
You can be a millionaire or billionaire out there, but as soon as you walk into a kickboxing ring and a 12-year-old knocks you out, you're 12 years old.
Exactly. Exactly. So regarding habits, I think we started Lead Optimizer. I mean, obviously for me being a full-time accountant as well, I had to do it some other time than between 5 to 8, let's call it, or 8 to 5. So for many years now, I wake up at 4. I have a morning routine between 4 to 6 in the morning, and doing various things during various phases in my life, obviously. Yeah. So one of them was Lead Optimizer, especially in the beginning. That was my part-time gig, part-time business that I wanted to start growing, because I believe that is the actual future. I mean, you've never seen that more evidently during COVID now. If you have an online business, that's where you need to go.
So you would get up at 4 in the morning to 6 to work on your kind of like side hustle.
Yeah. So what will typically happen is I would wake up at 4, and obviously in the beginning it's difficult. Yeah. Everything is difficult in the beginning, and everything is hard at first and easier as you go along. So we spot a certain niche. Let's call it BE certificates, and then we would research around that niche. I would obviously do some research, reading everything around that niche, and then we will write the website on that niche. Yeah. Obviously on the biggest keywords and drive the leads towards that website.
That's very interesting. It takes I can imagine quite a bit of drive to actually, get up at 4 in the morning to do something that most people would just jump on the other work to kind of get that done. Like most people would just take time out of their normal. They wouldn't adjust their schedule just to work in something like that, which is, I'm assuming, how you make things like that work, and that's why it doesn't work for most people, because we try to jippo on things, and when you have to jippo something else to do something, you're going to end up jippoing that as well to do something else.
Yeah, for sure. We're all in such a distractive kind of world currently, and if you're not careful, you will get lost in all the distractions. They call it digital dementia, but I mean, if you look at people, people don't even look at each other anymore. They don't greet you anymore because they don't see you. They're on their phone all the time. So there's a lot of ways, I think, to make sure that you don't get trapped in that. But it's you get very easily into that trap because of it's all over. It gets forced into us, and because they want us to be like that. Because if we're trapped, they can control us.
Yeah. But you seem like a very focused individual, like a lot of people like myself, I tend up getting, like very flustered by things, like my mind just kind of drifts away, and it seems like you've kind of got that sorted out, like you're very present in what you're dealing with at the moment. Is there a way that you kind of make sure you stay focused like that, or is it just something that comes naturally to you, just the whole...
Yeah, I think you just mentioned it as well, but I mean, there's creative people and there's more structured kind of accountants kind of people. So I think the accountant side of me is make it definitely easier to do that. Yeah. But we all can do that. There's a lot of creative people. One of my mentors, Robin Sharma, I mean, I've been attending various courses and stuff of him. And I mean, he's a creative person. He writes books and do all kinds of things regarding creativity. And I mean, I learned a lot of my kind of habits from him. And so one of the biggest things that I believe that serves me a lot is to pre-plan my week. Yeah. So on a Sunday or Monday morning between 4 to 6, I would plan my whole week up front. Certain things I have a weekly schedule of doing things without even have to think about it. It's already on my calendar. So nature walks, certain times in the week I've scheduled that out. I've one massage a week that I do that I feel is very important, very underestimated to do.
Just for the mental aspect of it, or like the actual physical benefits, or is there a specific reason that you go for massage instead of going to say like a physio or anything like that? Is it just because it's more like just for the relaxing spa type thing? Just the,
Yeah, it's more like a body worker, so they actually work on my fascia release and all your obviously your tension around your whole body has got the fascia around you. So to actually work intensely on that, so it's not necessarily the most relaxing kind of massage.
Oh, okay, so
it's more
like deep tissue,
intense body work kind of work. But when you go for a massage, overall, your cortisol level, that's your fear hormone, actually dropped by something like 30%. And your serotonin level, your inspirational hormone, rise again to almost 30%.
But it's interesting, it's cool to do things like that. You kind of, it's something that you're getting done, like you're getting a massage, like, you know, it's something you can take off your list. But in the time that you're there, you to kind of, it's not like you're having a conversation with anyone, or you're kind of busy doing something physically, so you're not distracted by that. So you kind of just get time to kind of process things
and think about things.
Exactly. It actually forces you to slow down.
Totally.
And entrepreneurs, we raised up like I hate the word hustle, but we are raised to hustle.
But it's like that, you know, because when you're not working, you're sitting and thinking, shit, how can I be working more? How can I be making more money? What could I be doing? And you feel, and if you, especially if you're self-employed and stuff like that, you do tend, especially when things are not going super well, you forget to kind of take time off for yourself and reboot, which is very important, because otherwise you're just going to burn out and you're not going to make any money either way.
So you wake up at 4 every morning.
Yes.
So what time do you go to bed? How do you sleep?
6:30. No, I'm joking. I'm normally in bed about 9. So I mean, we're a very relaxed family. I mean, 2 boys, my wife. So I mean, when they go to bed, we relax. We make sure at 9 o'clock we're ready to go to sleep.
Okay.
But at the most about 10. So I mean, we're not going out being party animals or anything. I'm getting older as well.
And, it's kind of funny you should mention that. When you actually go out and do something in the evening, you're not able to get in bed at 10. What do you do then? Do you just sleep a little bit in later, or do you just deal with the tiredness the next day, or how do you go?
The problem is you already have that built-in clock now for 4 o'clock. So I mean, normally I'm awake at about just 3:45. So and it actually happened. I mean, I've been waking up at 6 a long time ago, and then I started noticing, well, I'm awake at 5:30. I can just as well.
It's the same with me.
Yeah,
I wake up at 6 every
slower.
morning, and but every morning I get up at like either 5:30 or 5:45, having to go to the bathroom. But then I'm up, you know. I always go climb back in my bed, but I always know that I should probably just get up, because I just end up laying there awake, waiting for my alarm to go.
Exactly, and as you go along, it gets earlier and earlier. Obviously, up to the point of my point is 4 o'clock, and I won't go any obviously earlier than that. But just what you mentioned now, I think the biggest thing is you will never wake up at 4 or 5 or 6 if there's no reason for you to wake up. And I think I call it my ikigai, but something that I wake up in the morning that's bigger than myself. And if we can all find our purpose, and all 3 of us, our purposes are different, and nothing wrong with that. That makes us unique and authentic. But if you have something to wake up in the morning that's bigger than yourself, then you will jump up and you will be happy to go, and you also have something planned for 4 o'clock. I mean, you won't jump up at 4 and just be there. I mean, just sit there and then almost
go find something.
Exactly. You have a specific book that you always want to read to grow you. You have online course. You have, like me, at some stage, lead optimizer that I want to grow part time. So there must also always be that fire within you to do something, and also that bigger purpose of why you're doing that. It's always great to do something, but why do you do that? Why do you want to develop myself? Why do I want to start a company like Lead Optimizer? Not just for the money, what else?
So what's that thing for you in the morning? Is it just the drive getting to work, or is there like, what do you do the first thing in the morning? Because for me, I used to get up at 5 in the morning just so that I could go to the gym before work.
Yes.
And so that would be the thing that kind of got me out of bed and got me excited, because it wasn't just I'm getting up to go to work, which is usually kind of a drag to most people, but I'm getting up to go to the gym firstly. So I'm very excited in the morning to get to the gym and get my workout in and all that. So do you have something that you do in the morning, just a little routine or ritual to get yourself up and awake, or do you just go right into it, just book to the, like, head on the laptop and just work in the mornings? Or do
I try not to go on the laptop unless I have a specific project like Lead Optimizers that I had at some stage. So it differs from a period in my life.
Yeah.
But what I try to do every morning, well, every evening before I go to sleep, just as my head hits a pillow, and every morning as I wake up, I do affirmations, visualization.
Mm-hmm.
That's one part of growing is your mindset. It's only a portion of that, but that's an important part for me in any case. So do affirmation, do visualization, that your subconscious is very, what do you call it? But you influence your subconscious the best.
Yeah.
First thing in the morning and first thing before you go to sleep, because that's the last thing and the first thing that you feed it. And your subconscious is your limiting beliefs, and I mean that's how you operate. So if you have any limiting beliefs, if you don't have any confidence, if you don't, that's the thing to do. Yeah. So that's my always to do. I mean that doesn't matter what phase that's what I'm doing. Then the next phase would be generally I would do some fitness training. I've got a gym at home, so I do some training. Obviously, that's the best thing to do first thing in the morning, because it obviously rises serotonin, all your various hormones, and the thing I like the most is BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which actually repairs damaged brain cells. Wow. So that is actually, and it also obviously inspires you. Yeah. So that's my biggest reason for training in the morning. Right now, I don't train at 4 o'clock. I train about 6 because my youngest boy, he started training with me. The youngest boy of 7. So he do all kinds of push-ups, incline push-ups with me, and it's going, he wants to be a ninja. That's his aspiration currently. So, and because I've been a kickboxing instructor for about 5 years, I can actually obviously train him myself.
That's very cool.
So it's pretty cool. I've changed my whole fitness regime from weights and all kinds of things only to body weights that he can actually train with me.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
When people include their kids in
it's pretty cool. Yeah, I think that's a very important part of life.
And and that'll stick with him for the rest of his life. He'll be he's got that
especially
with him.
Especially the age and what he's now. What he's 7 years old. Around that age, everything. I mean, I'm a musician. That's what I do for a living. And around that same time, I got into playing drums and everything. And at that age, anything that you get into really sticks with you because you're at that development stage. So introducing a child to any form of fitness or exercise at that stage will stick with them, which is really powerful and it's cool.
I think just overall, I think there's a lot of value doing things with your kids. I think a lot of entrepreneurs are so driven. We talked about the hustle quickly, just touch on it, but I think a lot of entrepreneurs are so hustle based, and I think they believe that people expect them to work so hard that they work all their life to get to a certain point in their business, and they forgot about the family. Exactly. I mean, I've been there as well. I mean, I don't criticize. I'm just stating the facts. So, and about 3 years ago, I've changed a lot of things. I've been burnt out, and I've changed a lot of things. So, but one of the things very big for me. I've got 2 cell phones. The one I woke up in this morning or today is my private phone. So I've got about 5 friends and in my family that's got that number. And the rest is with my PA, and nobody can get hold of me when I choose to.
Okay, that's very cool. That's interesting.
And that's also a very. You mentioned about the time, but that's a very good way to structure your time. Obviously, not replying to clients and not replying to anybody, but have a structured 2 chunks of the day to have that time of replying and communicating.
That's something I'm picking up that's kind of important to a lot of more successful people, is building that sort of barrier around yourself that not everyone can always reach you. It's good when you're starting out, like myself. I need everybody to be able to speak to me most of the time, but when you are with your ad, it kind of becomes more a drag when everybody's trying to phone you the whole time for just asking you kind of simple accounting questions. You don't need that day to day when you're trying to focus on everything else. And
it's a difficult thing to juggle, in the sense of, because you don't want clients to feel that you don't care about them. Exactly. And that's definitely not the case. But the more you can focus, the more you can focus on your clients' work. But you can't focus on 5 clients simultaneously.
Exactly.
The guy that tried to the guy that tried to catch 2 rabbits didn't caught neither.
Exactly.
So you need to. And I found I work from 8 to 5 is my chunk time that nobody can get hold of me. I do a lot of more work, I think, in a day that most people do in a week, just because I really focus on one thing at a time, and I make sure everything
very
is done.
structured and disciplined and so on. So would you say that's something that comes from martial arts? The whole, because you mentioned that you've been doing martial arts since a very young age, and
Yes.
also with the analytical brain and so on. That I feel like all of that kind of works well together. Because just having an analytical brain isn't going to get you everywhere. You still need to kind of be consciously in control of your analytical brain and put it to good use. Like you're not going to use your analytical brain to go become a painter or and it's just not going to work well for you. So you do need to kind of. It seems like you've kind of figured out your strengths and you've used your brain to kind of use your strengths to your advantage, which is something I can find it's very interesting.
I think it's a very important point, and I think I've realized also when I try to hang a picture up against the wall, I get very frustrated because I can use measure tape, I can do anything. My wife can actually go and put the little dots for me where the picture will still be like this. I mean, I'm just useless when it comes to that. But I'm good at a few things, but the rest I suck at. And I'm happy with that. I used to be frustrated and I felt bad. Now I get somebody to do the handiwork for me, and I can focus on my work and actually creating funds on this side. To make sure I don't have to do the things on the other side.
Also, if you've got a pipe leaking in the kitchen and you're not a plumber, it's going to take a plumber 5 minutes to fix that.
Exactly.
It's going to take you 2 hours out of your busy day
Exactly.
that you can't spend either on work or with your kids or with your wife.
Exactly.
Doing martial arts is something that's actually benefiting you. You're not. Look, sorry, let me just shut this down. So obviously it's very good to be able to do things yourself, but it's not always necessary. Like you're not growing that much by fixing a pipe in the kitchen. It's not really aiding you in your journey going forward.
Yeah, there's a saying that says the mere reason that you can push a boulder uphill doesn't mean you have to do it.
Exactly.
And I love the truth of Robin Sharma called it the joy of GPS. Or use your GPS as a joy.
Okay.
So, and it goes about people, places, and pursuits. So, choose the people, places, and pursuits that actually fuel your joy, and makes you excited about waking up in the morning, and also be very realistic about the people, places, and pursuits that don't fit your joy, because that will destroy your joy. And we only have that amount of space in a day, and even in our life, we only have one life to live.
Exactly.
So make sure that whatever you do is really in the fulfillment of your joy and what really let your heart smile.
Yeah, and people especially is a very difficult one, because not everybody in your life is there because you choose them to be there. And we all have this sort of we have this intense drive towards loyalty inside of us that we need to stick to the people who are in our lives, but not everybody who's in your life kind of deserves to be there. And as harsh as that may sound, it's very important for you if you want to be a successful, not only businessman, but person in general. If you want to be a healthy, good person who's having a generally good life, it's very important to pick the people around you very, very carefully.
Yes.
Especially in businesses as well, because it can cause a lot of tension in a business and be very detrimental to the health of the business itself if you include the wrong people in your company. So do you have kind of any kind of way that you decide who comes into your company and who doesn't, or do you mostly focus on credentials, or are you very people orientated? Is it about who's sitting in front of you? How do you choose who you let into your circle?
So employees-wise, our employees got less and less in the sense of I use more and more outsourcers than I really use employees. So I've got a few senior people around me that's 10 years, 8 years with me. But the rest are all outsourced because I found I resonate with somebody, and then I would rather use that person's service because it just feels better than having an employee work through 10 employees to get to the one, because that's generally the ratio. You need to go through 10 of them to get to one. But in general, I think you need to make a list of 5 people that fuel your joy, and 5 people that's toxic and negative that you know that's there. And nobody's negative or toxic just because they and they don't do it on purpose.
Yeah.
They don't wake up this morning and think, I want to be nasty to drinkers today.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just their level of consciousness and awareness and maturity at this stage is where it is.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily serving you right now.
Exactly.
And so for you, it's up to you to make a choice who you allow in that circle.
Yeah.
It doesn't make that a bad person. It just don't make it the right fit for you currently in your life.
Yeah.
And the same with pursuits and places as well. Pursuits can be anything in your personal life and your business. Whatever serves you of what you want to do. I like to go to, and I do nature walks once a week, at least once a week. If I don't do it, I can feel the difference inside of me and my productivity during the week.
Okay.
And same with a lot. I've started doing a few things that I really like, kind of work-wise, and I outsource the rest.
Okay.
Not necessarily because I can't do it, but I don't have to do it.
Yeah.
And I can really focus on that 5 things that really makes me excited.
And outsourcing is also, it's a very powerful thing in the sense that it can save you a lot of money and time and so on as well, because you don't actually have to manage the people. Let's say you outsource your website to someone. Then you don't physically have to have that person in your office. You don't have to pay them 25,000 rand a month. You know, you're just paying them 2,000 whatever a month just to maintain it, just to keep it going. So you can, you spend a lot less money. And usually when people have a business, when they're doing something like that, I feel it's a lot better to outsource it to them, just because it's kind of becomes their problem then, and they need to deal with it, and it doesn't have to be you kind of sitting with an employee making sure that they do everything that they need to do. And so I feel outsourcing it can be a very, very useful tool if you.
Yes, I think one point is very important, that you need to remember that you will still be the go-to guy, and it's still, it's still a thing that you need to manage.
Yeah.
Because if there's deadlines and you just rely on them to do that, then, and you're not, they're not really up to the deadline, then you're going to be in the eye of doing that.
Yeah. The responsibility never goes away from you. You as the entrepreneur, the head of the company, everything comes back to you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But like we spoke about, how involved you are in the physical day-to-day things is something that you need to figure out for yourself. And it's the same, like you said, with people, is you're not gonna, when people are too toxic and just too negative in your life, you can go 2 routes. Is you can try to fix them personally, or you can walk away for a while and come back when you think they're better. And
which is a better option.
Exactly, because that's the same as fixing the pipe in the kitchen. It's going to take a lot of your energy and your time, and it's not really growing you as a person if you're not working to become a psychologist or a life coach or whatever. So if you just, it's not, I don't feel it's everybody's responsibility to fix everybody. It's at the end of the day, we're all
your own responsibility
people.
inside. You can't. If you're a churchgoer and you can't convert somebody to believe in God.
Exactly.
You can't convince somebody to grow himself.
Yeah.
And growing is a very important part of being an entrepreneur. If you don't grow yourself daily, you will get behind.
Yeah.
The leader that grows himself the most will win. That's just a fact.
Exactly.
But people will never do it. I can preach to you every single day.
Yeah.
But only when you're ready, you will do it.
Yeah.
So I can be an example. That's the job of the leader in any case, be example. But then you can't force anybody.
Yeah. And also, things aren't just you can't just, wait for someone to change as well, or for a situation to get better. Because I think I was on your Instagram yesterday, and you spoke about the trigger for growth, because everything needs that kind of catalyst.
Yes.
The seed's not just going to grow if you don't put it in the ground, you don't water it.
Exactly,
Things don't just happen. You do need to put in the time and the effort, and it's also very important to decide when you want to put in what time and what effort, and the things, and the people, the places, and
the suits,
like you said. You do need to choose those very carefully. Otherwise, you're just going to end up wasting a lot of time and burning yourself out very young as well.
I think on that note as well, I think it's important to choose a few pursuits, because a lot of people try to do serial entrepreneurs, and they want to do everything for everybody. I really hate that word, because it's just, I'm trying everything.
Yeah.
Focus on your strengths, your passion, and what is your actual purpose. Because if you're a serial entrepreneur, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion, then you're just chasing money.
Exactly.
But if you a purpose-driven entrepreneur, then there's a reason behind anything that you do.
Exactly.
And I think that's very important. I think that's the main thing that any entrepreneur needs to discover is its purpose.
That's the saying as well, is a jack of all trades, master of none.
Yes,
so
exactly.
if you're going to try and do everything, you're never going to master anything. You know?
Yeah.
That's why when you go to university, you study accounting, or you study business, or you study arts. You don't study accounting and arts. You know, there's no accounting arts degree. That doesn't exist.
Exactly.
What are you going to do with arts and accounting? It just doesn't make any sense.
So I think it all comes back to your bigger course, your ikigai. If you, and it's not easy. I mean, it's easy to say go look for your passion and link that to a purpose, and you find your ikigai, whatever you want to call it. But it's not very easy to get there. It took me about probably 18 years to get there, and it's an ongoing process. I mean, 5 years, my purpose might be different. It all wherever I am right now is exactly where I'm supposed to be. So this is where my purpose is currently needs to be. But in 5 years, it might be totally different.
Exactly. Ikigai is not a constant. I actually just want to touch on Ikigai for a second, because I've read a book about Ikigai, so I do know what it is, but most people, I'm assuming, don't know what Ikigai is. So could you just give us a quick, just like a recap of how the Ikigai works in the Japanese culture and so on?
So, well, it's basically, in short, it's a reason for waking up that's bigger than yourself. So it's, you find your passion, something that you really excite you. I mean, first of all, I think there's a lot of various ways and angles to look at it, but this is my view. So to link your passion, something that really excites you, to wake up in the morning towards a purpose that is obviously your bigger reason. For mine is to obviously doing everything that I do. What I do is towards growing entrepreneurs and be there for entrepreneurs, to be generous in adding value to entrepreneurs. So I think that's a very important aspect to find. And then you need to try to find how you can match your passion and your purpose together to actually be prosperous as well, to actually start making money as well. Because there's no harm in doing money. There's a lot of society generally preach about the root of all evil and all those kind of things. But there's no harm in doing money. It's actually a lot of good can be done with money, but trying to fit your passion and your purpose together, that you can actually start creating money from there. So otherwise, your passion is really just a hobby if you can't generate money from that.
Exactly, and that's a
band name. Ikigai. That's
Ikigai.
a good band.
It's probably already a band. But it's
I like it.
Yeah, but it's interesting because a lot of people they have skills and they do have the passion. That let's take an artist per se. There's a lot of artists out there, but they don't really know how to monetize that. Even people with like computer skills and things like that.
Yes.
There are people who can build websites and apps much better than I can, but they have no idea how to approach people, how to sit down with someone and explain to them why it's a good idea to have a website, why it's good that if somebody types your name into Google, you pop up first and not some other guy.
Yes.
And why it's good for you to have a good online presence, whatever, because when people go into one website, when people see two websites doing the same thing, and yours is a lot better than someone else's, they're going to choose you every time.
Yes. You can be the worst accountant in South Africa,
What's the best website?
but the best website and best presence. If you start adding value constantly, and it can be an IT guy, it can be an attorney, it can be a builder. If you have the biggest presence, people will choose you because they remember you. So subconsciously you build up trust.
That brand
whether it's good or bad, it's there.
Exactly.
So Gary Vee called it jab, 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 right hook. So give, and then you ask for business. Exactly. But we all are raised in the sense of instant gratification, that we want everything now. I want to start something now, and I want to be the next best thing. I want to make a lot of money, and I want to be a millionaire within the next year. But I don't want to give. I just want to ask.
Exactly.
And money is like anything else, is an energy field. And you can't expect money to flow in abundance on the one side if you choke it on the other side. It's like electricity, it's like water, you need to flow. And if you choke anything on this side, nothing can flow out. So if you don't give and not be generous about giving in all kinds of form, kindness, just merely adding value, just being a nice person.
And I think that's, I'm not going to bring up the Bible verse, but I'm going to speak out of the Bible. There's a Bible verse about a rich man. It's easier for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into heaven. And I think that when the Bible speaks about rich men, what they're talking about is those kind of money hoarders, people who, back in the day, you'd get a king who would just have people under him and he'd go pillage and just keep that all for himself. And you do need to kind of structure yourself in a way where you can give back and you can... And even just, it doesn't even have to be giving back, but just to make money, you do have to spend money sometimes. You can't just go and think, I'm going to start a business now, but you don't want to buy the machinery that you need, and you don't want to set up the websites that you need, and you don't want to pay the bills that you need to. You're not going to get anywhere if you're not willing to at least put that little bit of money on the table and just, feed the beast.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Bible, but you can look at it from any angle. Abundance is really inside of you. Yeah. So you just need to decide, do I want to actually let it be part of me, or do I want to hold it back and block it? And a lot of blocks are limiting beliefs about money that we have. About been raised by the school, church, all kinds of people, and I love God. I'm a believer of God, so it's not. I don't talking down to. I'm talking more down to what I've been preaching in schools. And good thought parents and all kinds of people. Exactly. As you grow up, that money is the root of all evil. All rich people are thieves and liars. And you get all these kind of sayings, and subconsciously you start believing that. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what I'm telling you. You need to work through that process to unblock that. Yeah. Because only then you will be able to be prosperous and be abundant.
Because I do think it's a very good, that's a good way to approach religion as well, because if you just take everything by the book as it comes, you're not going to have a good time. And also, I think what it also comes back to is I believe more in spirituality than in religion, because I think spirituality, by definition, is a connection with the divine. It's you kind of having a relationship with God or the universe, or what you choose to identify with in that way. But then religion is going to church, sitting on the bench, having the preacher tell you what to think, where to go. And it's
give
the same
give
with
you
school,
a structure of what exactly what needs to happen.
It's education versus school. It's different going to an institutionalized education, like going to school, than just learning the things that you have to know. Like myself, I was homeschooled for 9 of my 12 years in school, and I think I spent the last 3 in the gym, and that's all I did. But I still got through school fine, because I got the knowledge that I needed to, and I think I'm doing fine now as well. Because I don't think it's important to physically sit in a class and have 10 or 5 to 10 teachers, kind of shape your idea of the world and the way that you see things and understand things as well. Because those are also just people sitting in the class there. And not to be rude, but it's not like teachers are the most accomplished people to begin with. And sure.
That sounds very harsh, but
it sounds very harsh, but it's
like, it's a good example. Obviously it sounds harsh, but I hear what you're saying. And it's the same with financial advisors. Yeah. You want to give all your money to somebody that you don't even know to have anything, that even grow their own portfolio, their own assets.
That's like don't trust the skinny shit.
It's like exactly. So that's something that Warren Buffett, Robert Kiyosaki, all of them generally would advise you is. You develop yourself to make better financial decisions, better financial investments, and you do it yourself. Exactly. Brokers are only there for commission. That's their only purpose.
Exactly. No one has your interest, better interest at heart for you than yourself.
Yes.
Because, like you said, a financial advisor, that's his business. He's there to make money from it for himself. Yes. It's not. Most people don't go into businesses like that with the clients in mind. It's not like, I'm going to make Jasper so much money. It's more like, I'm going to make so much money from Jasper.
Yes.
Which is also not really fair to say. I understand that, but it is important also to think about what you want, and if you see those values in someone else, that's kind of, especially if it comes to like a financial advisor or someone who's kind of in charge of your money and in a sense then your life, because your money is your livelihood in the world we live in today, unfortunately.
I have one of my favorite sayings is, you don't go to Mercedes, and ask them what's the best car.
Yeah.
You know what's the best car, but you don't go to Mercedes and you ask them the best car because it will be Mercedes.
It will be Mercedes.
So make your own decision. Go develop yourself to have a better understanding of things around you, of the universe, and let things flow as you need to flow, and fall into place as you need to fall into place, as you just live your life. I think we're all too much focused on mindset and want to control everything with our mind, and don't want serendipity and all those kind of let the universe take care of you.
You need to have that kind of holistic approach to it.
You need to do what you need to do, but the universe, God, will guide you and put certain things in your place. Doesn't matter what you do.
But then as well, it is your responsibility to see those opportunities and to use them and put them to good use. Because all of us, have opportunities that come across ourselves every day, but we don't. Not everybody is good at seeing those opportunities and kind of grabbing them.
I mean, a lot of people, and again, I mean, going back to what good thought people that teach you or preach to you, they would tell you, trust God. And yes, you must trust God in your life, in just being existence, and trust Him for what will come. But you need to do the work.
You can't just exist.
You can't just be there and lie on your couch and be a couch potato and watch soapies all day long and say God will provide.
I've always said that the biggest kind of thing about free will is that it's your responsibility still to choose.
Yes.
The fact that you can choose means you have to choose.
Yes.
You can't just kind of lie around and wait for things to happen, because that's not just gonna. That's not how I personally see the universe or God to work. They just don't work like that. It's not everything's not just going to work out for you. And a lot of people look at very successful people and they say like, they were just more fortunate than I was. They grew up in a richer family or whatever, and that might be true. Like Tony, who we had here yesterday, he was very fortunate to have
Tony Robbins.
No. Tony McPherson. So what happened? Yo, can you imagine? No mics, dude. No mics. So Tony is a very young guy. I think he's about 20, 21 years old. I think he might be turning 21 this year. And when he was 18 or something, I think, his grandfather passed away and left a large company to him, an international pharmaceutical company. So Tony at the moment is the youngest CEO in pharma internationally. But Tony has been working very hard since then, and he's been able to see some other opportunities throughout Africa and throughout the world that he might not have been able to see if he didn't have the kind of position that he was in, but he was still able to see those and put them to good use.
Yes.
So just always having infrastructure is not everything. And I think we can, not to bring this really up too much, but South Africa is a good example for that, where we have the infrastructure, but it's just not being put to good use.
We never had this. There's many opportunities that we have currently. If you're open to it.
Exactly, but everybody's only sitting at home, screaming
waiting
at the
for
government
COVID
or someone's going to fix it.
COVID to blow over. I mean, I hear so many people that actually say, I'm going to write off 2020. So 2020 is your best year that you ever had. Honestly, to actually grow yourself.
Everybody I've spoken to personally, who I see as a winner, who was an entrepreneur, everybody, 2020 is the best year for them. 2020 has been, but then everybody who's just an employee at some company or who's just got that mindset of it's me against the world, all that shit. Those are the people who are really suffering now. It's all those people who are not having a good time. The rest of us are, it's been a very good year so far, and there's a lot of opportunities that have opened up with COVID. Like back to Tony again, like he's got networks that he's built throughout Africa just around the COVID kind of thing as well, and with my father's business as well, and even mine. I mean, a lot of people are sitting at home now contacting me for work that I wouldn't have had before, just because of, even there are a lot of people who are starting businesses now who need help from people like me. And so it's very cool to see the opportunities that can open with things that other people see as potentially kind of shutting down the economy, shutting down the opportunities and so on. There's a lot more opportunities at the moment. I'm not going to say a lot more, but there's new opportunities that have presented themselves.
I think a lot more and new. So, and especially in a third world country like South Africa, I mean, we haven't even explored the online market yet.
Yeah,
I mean,
not
there's a few of us that really play in that market, very trying our feet in there. I mean, I've been doing it about 2-3 years on like YouTube and lead optimizers for about, let's call it 6 years. But it's still, it's an ongoing process of, I mean, if I look at guys like Gary Vee overseas, and I mean, we're so behind. I mean, we think like, okay, we're doing great, which is just touching the tip of the iceberg.
We don't even in our country have the kind of support that they do yet.
No.
We don't have the viewers even yet. We don't have the users.
Yes. What I've started doing was, one of my mentors is Evan Carmichael. Evan Carmichael with a YouTube channel, Believe. He's got about 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube. So he's my online coach on YouTube. Doing some one-on-one training with him as well. And it helped a lot to actually associate yourself with some of the people outside of South Africa.
Yeah.
Like you said, I mean, because there's so little real entrepreneurs that, I mean, been through the trenches of this new world. I mean, there's some amazing entrepreneurs in Africa, but they haven't really been through this new world of exploring and providing value for no expectation at all, just by opening the world of an abundance for you. So it's great to start tapping into. Most of my interviews these days are with other overseas entrepreneurs because it's great to have another perspective from them. I'm very fortunate also to be on a Robin Sharma Zoom group and WhatsApp group that's really from all over the world, and it's great energy from all over.
And usually when you befriend an entrepreneur from a different country, you befriend a whole sort of network of people through them, which is very cool. And like with the music that we're in as well, I've got friends in different countries, and every time I release a new song, all of my friends in the different countries kind of spreads it out to their friends in the different countries, and so it's the same with entrepreneurship, I feel, you know, like, and with someone like you trying to build their own personal brand as well. It's not only Robin Sharma that knows about you now, it's the whole Zoom group. They will know who you are in a sense. And when they're ever going to come to South Africa, they're going to know your name. You know, that's that brand familiarity that we spoke about soon.
Yeah, definitely. Everything that you do is, we've got a new contact today. I mean, we haven't been seeing each other on Instagram or wherever, but we are never connected. But from here we connected. From now, there is a potential relationship that can start. But if you don't open yourself for that, nothing can happen. So if you didn't take that first step of opening yourself into the world and giving, nothing can come back because there's no opportunity to come back.
We touched on jealousy very quickly, but yesterday we touched on jealousy very quickly, because jealousy can be one of those things that will prevent you from networking with people. Because I might have seen that you're a relatively successful person, and I might not have wanted to have you on my podcast just because you're more successful than I am. You know, some people are like that. And people see me as a relatively good networker, but it's just because I will go and I'll sit with people and chat to them, and I'll have a conversation with them, and I'm open to new experiences and to meeting new people, and that's the only thing that you need to have to build a good network. It's just the willingness to actually allow people into your network, because other people want to, build relationships as well.
Yeah, everyone wants to open up. So if you show to another person, hey, I'm willing to open up and to establish something here, they do the same, and then the gates open. Then you have that.
Everyone basically wants to be recognized. I mean,
exactly.
But that's a value in being kind, in the sense of just asking you how are you, and actually listen to your reply. Just how are you, and then walking away. How are you, and please and thank you. I think that's the most underestimated words for an entrepreneur that nobody uses anymore. You get emails like one-liner of "send me this, give me this." It's like, no, I'm just like,
no, hello.
No, hello, how are you?
Even
Trust
if it's just
your
an exclamation
kind
point after hello, it just changes the tone completely. I mean, I do it all the time. I actively try and be very vrolijk,
cheerful.
When I speak to people electronically and over the phone as well, and it works really well in the sense of they want to. In contact with you because you're like a nice guy to them, So definitely.
Like Dolph especially, he has no enemies. Everybody loves him because he's just such a nice guy. Myself, I've got some enemies.
Well, I actually do have one or two now.
I think we all do. I think I always say there's a lot of people. I don't think there's always just a middle kind of way. Maybe for some people. I have people that don't like me, and I have people that like me.
Yeah.
And that's a great being of putting yourself out there as well. You can decide before you even talk to me or approach me, do you like me? Do you like the content I do?
Exactly, yeah.
Or don't you like it? If you don't like it, it's great. I don't mind.
Yeah.
I don't expect anybody to like me. Or everybody to like me. Hopefully one person like me. But as long as my wife, then it's fine.
And the kids.
And the kids. There's 3 people in my life, then it's fine.
We like you as well, that's 5.
Thank you very much. I like you too. But I think that is a very important point in the sense of, and to get over as well, because everybody wants to be liked.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to post something on Facebook and you hope for a lot of likes and comments or whatever. But just be, and let the people attract the people that need to be attracted to you in your life, and the rest will walk away even before.
Because another like very, I don't want to call it dangerous, but another like very bad thing is like pandering as well, just making people feel that what you agree with what they say when you don't.
Yes.
And kind of creating that false relationship with someone, because that's not a real
dishonesty is
relationship.
what it is.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like being nice is one thing, but kind of pretending to be nice to someone and going behind their back and spreading negative energy, that's just creating negative energy. So rather just like you said, do what you're going to do, act like you're going to act, and kind of convey the message that you want to convey, and then people will decide whether they should be around you or not. If you're going to be dishonest, people are going to be around you, but it's not really an authentic relationship.
And they all feel. Unfortunately, we are energy fields.
Yeah,
so
exactly. People pick up on things like that.
Yeah, and men are a bit not so good, and my wife is very good with that. She's very intuitive, and she do energy work as well. So she can very easily tell me, don't step away or be careful.
Yeah.
And I used to not trust her on that. Now I trust her totally on that. So if she tells me, Trikas, be careful, then I will be careful.
Yeah.
Because I learned from experience. She's very, very in tune with the intuitive side.
And also she's, effectively your life partner. So it's very good for you to listen to her intuition and things like that.
Yes.
To keep that in mind, because building relationships when you are in a kind of life partnership with someone is you're not just building the relationship for yourself, and you're building the relationship for your family and so on as well.
Exactly.
So it is important to kind of listen to your significant other when they kind of pick up bad vibes or whatever from someone. And
but there's a deeper thing you just mentioned about not being honest and not being saying what you. I just agree with you. I just agree with you because I want to agree with you. We are on a camera now. I want to agree with you. But we can always disagree respectfully.
Exactly. Yeah.
To start with. But there's a reason why people get sick. And people get sick because they influence their energy around them of not speaking their truth, not doing the things that they need to do. And because of that, we become sick.
Yeah.
And I think that's difficult because you would rather be liked than disliked. And when you speak your truth, you can very easily be disliked. But I believe a lot of people do get sick because they don't live their truth.
Yeah.
They don't live their purpose, they don't live their truth, they don't speak but they need to speak. You don't have to
Some
be
people like tomatoes and other people just don't like tomatoes,
It is what it is. Tomato. Potato.
You don't like tomatoes.
I do like tomatoes. I love tomatoes.
Who do I know that doesn't like tomatoes?
My fiance does not like tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's weird. Do you like tomatoes?
Yes, I do.
Okay, that's very good. A lot
We
of
agree.
antioxidants. No, just saying that. It's on camera.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to ask your wife later.
Exactly.
So you mentioned you do martial arts. What type of martial arts do you dabble with? Are you involved with?
So I started in primary school. I started with karate, like sport karate kind of thing. I've been my whole life up till basically second year after matric. I've done straight karate. I achieved my first dan black belt in there, and then I switched. I had a bit of a break. Obviously, been getting married and focus was on other things. Yeah. And then after, I think probably our firstborn of 10 now got there, I started doing a switch to kickboxing. So I got a club close to us and doing the transition to kickboxing, and eventually got up to my second degree in black belt there. Started giving classes about for 5 years. I was basically a kickboxing instructor. and then my wife started doing jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
And so at this stage she's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, which is pretty high level in jiu-jitsu if
that
you know
is-
jiu-jitsu.
How does it work? It's white.
It's white, and then blue. So it's like, so you've got it's
Yeah,
like
but
a
jiu-jitsu
white
is
with a
very-
stripe, and it's like 4 stripes, and then you get a blue, and then it's blue, brown. Blue, purple, brown, and then black.
Yeah.
But every belt up till black is 4 stripes. So for each color you have.
See,
you've got-
jiu-jitsu is a very, very structured sport.
Very
It's very
intense.
hard to progress in
Very,
as well.
yeah.
It's not just something that, it's not like kickboxing where you can kind of get your black belt in like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, that's right.
It takes time.
Yes.
And it's a difficult sport as well. It's very hard to kind of, move with people like that.
Exactly. Yeah, kickboxing is really just, there's a punch, a hook, uppercut, a few kicks that you need to master, and just the one that master it the best will potentially be.
Also, some people have just a better athletic ability when it comes
For
to
sure.
kickboxing and stuff, and it really helps you. But jiu-jitsu is very technical. You need to train for years and years and years to be good at
You can be
jiu-jitsu.
like a skinny guy, or skinny, like not really big. You can get in a scramble with a really buff guy.
Yes.
But him not knowing jiu-jitsu and you knowing jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
you can easily
Game over,
his
yeah.
arms off.
Yeah.
It's, because there's a lot of close combat kind of chokes and locks and
Yeah.
things that you can do. In jiu-jitsu, especially like you mentioned, you can be a tiny guy like myself and roll against a big guy that doesn't know anything, and you will demolish him in seconds.
Yeah.
But it's a very humble sport as well. I especially at ego, you learn about ego a lot. I'm at 3rd stripe now, white belt in jiu-jitsu. So I'm about probably three years in.
Okay.
And I've started training as a white belt with my wife, with her trainer, and all of them are, because it's more personal training kind of environment. So we've got blue belts, purple belts, brown belts, and I'm the white belt. So I was like scrambling on the bottom forever, slowly getting better and better. But it's an ongoing journey, and that's like being an entrepreneur as well. It's never about the end result. It's always about the process of getting through that.